It was supposed to be the night of their lives. Tens of thousands of people packed into a sprawling outdoor venue, buzzing with excitement as the headliner's name lit up the giant screens. The bass thumped so hard that you could feel it in your chest. Lights flashed, phones glowed like fireflies, and voices rose together in anticipation. For many, this festival wasn't just another concert. It was the event they had saved for, planned for, dreamed about. Some had traveled across the state, waiting in endless lines to get through the gates. The energy was electric, but underneath the music, the laughter, and the cheering, there was something else, something more dangerous. The venue was overcrowded. Security guards looked overwhelmed. Emergency exits were poorly marked, and water stations were few and far between. The organizers had promised a night of joy, but whispers had already begun among festival-goers. This doesn't feel safe. And then it happened. When the main act finally appeared on stage, the crowd surged forward like a tidal wave. Tens of thousands of bodies pressed closer, tighter, harder. At first, people laughed it off. Shoving in crowds was normal. But quickly, the laughter turned into panic. Arms flailed. Breath became impossible. Screams were drowned out by the pounding music. People were trapped. Some were crushed against barricades. Others stumbled and fell, only to be swallowed by the moving tide of feet and bodies. Friends screamed each other's names, but the sound was lost in chaos. Within minutes, what was supposed to be a celebration turned into a nightmare. By the time first responders fought their way through the crowd, it was too late. Several people were injured. Some never made it out alive. A night that began with music ended in sirens and tears. In the days that followed, grief and anger consumed the community. Families demanded answers. How could this have happened? Who was responsible? The spotlight quickly turned to the festival organizers. Were they guilty of negligence for allowing so many people into a space clearly too small? For failing to provide enough security, enough water, enough exits? For putting profit over safety? Some argued yes, pointing to overcrowding, poor planning, and ignored warnings. Videos surfaced of security overwhelmed at the gates, of attendees begging for help during the show. The organizers, critics said, had created a disaster waiting to happen. But others defended them. Massive festivals always carried risks. No one could predict exactly how a crowd of that size would behave once the music started. They had permits, they had staff, they had plans. Could they really be blamed for something as unpredictable as human panic? The performers themselves weren't spared from scrutiny either. Some said the headliner should have stopped the show the moment chaos broke out. After all, from the stage, surely they could see the panic. Others argued that under blinding lights and deafening music, it was impossible to grasp the scale of what was unfolding. In court, prosecutors painted a grim picture. A festival where safety was an afterthought, where every decision put more money in the organizers' pockets while cutting corners on protections. They called it reckless, even criminal. The defense countered with a different narrative. A tragic accident, not a crime. No organizer could control tens of thousands of individuals. Stampedes had happened at events throughout history, from soccer matches to religious gatherings. Was it fair to call this tragedy murder? Or was it just the dark side of human crowds? The jury wasn't just asked to weigh facts. They were asked to weigh values. What level of responsibility do we place on those who bring people together in massive numbers? When something goes wrong, is it negligence or an unavoidable tragedy? The families sat in the courtroom, clutching photos of their loved ones. Every verdict, every argument, was not just theory for them. It was personal. Their children, siblings, and friends had gone to hear music and never came home. And so the question remains, were the organizers guilty of negligence, or was the stampede an accident no one could have stopped? Guilty or not? For more chilling true crime cases, subscribe to our channel, Guilty or Not.